So I had literally one of the best nights this week. All right, I'm coming home. I get home from jiu-jitsu practice. I walk up to my door, and in front of the door is a nice white box. Guess what's in it, guys?
What is it?
Certified Piedmontese beef.
Nuh-uh.
So,
lying, bro.
Yeah. So I had the gold-plated ribeyes, which you guys know it's like the one that's in gold. The skirt steaks. I had some sliders. I also had some flat irons.
Oh man!
And we've been talking about how good flat irons are. I haven't been a big fan because I haven't been able to have that many, but I had some the other day. So I took it out. I let it get to room temperature because we always talk about that. You got to let the steak sit for a little bit. Coated that motherfucker in salt. Okay. So I let it sit, put it in my air fryer because I'm simple like that. Put it in for about 10 minutes, brought it out, and oh my God. I think it has like 60 grams of protein and 8 grams of fat, but that's a really good ratio. But it was so good.
I haven't heard anything you said because I'm still thinking about those sliders.
Yeah, no, the sliders are good too. But remember, guys, I let that shit sit after I brought it out of the air fryer.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's crucial. I mean, you guys know flat irons are my jam. It's the best part of my day is coming home and cooking up a Piedmontese flat iron steak. But what's even better is I don't have to deal with the grocery store. They got 85 checkout lines, but like 2 cashiers. Like, dude, something's got to change. And I don't know about you guys, but like we train early, we train hard, we work hard all day long.
Yeah.
The last thing that I am like capable of doing is making a smart decision when I'm tired. Yeah. It's so awesome that Piedmontese is just going to deliver it to me. I don't have anything to worry about. You guys shouldn't have anything to worry about either. You guys can get this awesome steaks delivered to your doorstep. Head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Power Project crew, what's up? Hope you guys are surviving this quarantine as best as you can. The whole lockdownness finally affected the Power Project. We actually recorded this episode a little bit over a week ago, so apologies if some of the views and opinions or the information that we say is not up to speed. So just don't no need to DM us or reach out and send us emails and tell us how terribly wrong we are about anything. Again, like I said, this was about a week and a half ago we recorded this, so a lot has changed since then. And since then, we've actually been taking the lockdown and the self-isolation quite a bit more serious. So yes, it is a full remote podcast. It's the first time we've ever done this. Every single time we've done it since this date that we recorded, it's actually gotten better. So apologies if sometimes you hear a little bit of echoing in the audio. I did my best to clean it up. It's still there. You might not even notice it, but like me, I personally, it drives me nuts. But I did my best to clean it up, and I can promise you from this day forward, it'll sound much better. But yeah, so everybody stayed home and we recorded this fun podcast. We were just talking about like how we're dealing with the quarantine, how we're dealing with family and all that good stuff. But anyways, I'm going to get out of your guys' way. I just want to remind you that we are offering 20% off any slingshot and hip circle combo. Head over to markbellslingshot.com, add any slingshot of your choice, any hip circle of your choice, and at checkout you'll receive 20% off. And also there's a really good chance that your gym is closed down at the moment to keep everyone safe, healthy, and corona free. So Mark Bell is trying to help everyone out by offering a free 30-day trial of markbell.com. Markbell.com, of course, is where Mark posts his workouts every single day. Every single day, a new workout is available. On top of that, there's tons of information about like the carnivore diet, some bodybuilding stuff, some powerlifting, obviously, just a lot of good stuff. A really strong resource. Highly recommend that you guys take advantage of it. It's free. All you have to do is sign up, and you have the access to the entire website for 30 days. Yeah, anyways, that's at markbell.com. If you guys dig this episode, please let us know. One last thing. Because this was the first time we ever did a full podcast via Zoom, where everybody was, tuning into Zoom, my awesome self, I forgot to hit record. I could have swore I did. And then about like 13 minutes into the conversation, I realized that I wasn't recording. So if you're watching this on YouTube, again, for like the first maybe 13, 14 minutes after I shut up, you guys are just going to see the Power Project logo. But then after that, you guys will see our pretty little faces. So apologies for that. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and just get on to the damn show. Dude, where are you?
I'm in Here we meet Laura. Keep speaking.
Speaking.
Why are you in? How come you're wearing a shirt? First of all,
Sorry, guys. That's what I had to do.
I don't like that you're all covered up. It's like you're being shy or something.
There's nothing really much to show, so. But you guys can hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I couldn't, but I can hear you.
Good. Very good.
All right, well, what's going on, man?
Not much. All this quarantine-ness, I started watching Netflix over the weekend, and there's a really awesome movie that you guys need to avoid. It's called The Assignment. It's with a chick from Fast and the Furious. It instantly, you're just like, how the hell did this movie get made? So he is an assassin that kills the wrong person, the brother of a doctor, so that doctor gets a hold of him and converts him into a female. But the whole time, you can definitely see that she's still a chick. They put like a $5 Party City beard on her, and like they really make it like a very obvious point to be like, this is a dude. Like they show his penis, they show him putting on a condom, and it's really, really cheesy, and I just don't understand how it was made.
Did you watch this with your family, Andrew?
I watched it with Steph, and after, I don't know, probably half an hour in, I'm like, I don't think I want to finish this anymore.
Wait, you saw Dick though?
Yeah, full on, just wiener, right out the front.
What was it called again?
The Assignment.
For my notes.
Yeah.
The Assignment.
But the thing, it's so funny because they're like, oh, this is such a dude. He's such a bro. Look at his dick. And I'm just like, oh, that's penis. All right.
Yeah, I definitely want to check this
out. I'm disturbed.
It's bad. I don't understand why they even made it, but they did.
Well, I mean, disturbed, aroused. I mean,
there we go. Same
let's
thing.
face it, it's kind of a word, right?
Anyways,
terrible.
Yeah. Did you guys work out today?
I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm the other day, and Cher's daughter's on there, but Cher's daughter's a guy now. And in the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry puts his watch on a counter in the gym, and the guy's like wearing like a robe, and Cher's daughter now is a guy, and he goes to like turn around, and he knocks the watch off off of the counter with his giant dick. And he ended up breaking the watch. You got to see the episode, but it actually is Cher's daughter, and Cher's daughter looks like a USPA powerlifter, like 5'2", like 250, a little like muscular ball with a beard.
I want to wrap my head around this real quick. So okay. For political correctness, real quick, Cher's daughter, currently it's Cher's daughter, but used to be Cher's son. So Cher's son transitioned, and now is she, but still has a dick. Correct? Like, is that what's going on here? Or am I just off?
You just did something that I could never do. You made something even more politically incorrect than anything I've ever said.
What? Oh, I'm so confused. Wait, what?
Cher's daughter went through the transition to be a man, I guess you'd say. But in this episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, he now happens to have a large genitalia.
See, this is why I was confused. This is exactly why I was confused, because I haven't seen it. Now, is that genitalia? I thought that was his real penis, but I'm guessing it was a prosthetic for the show?
Well, I don't know. They didn't show it in the show.
Oh, you see, that's the problem, Mark, because I thought like they showed a dick, and I was like, okay, this dick is real, meaning that this is this individual's penis. But see,
I don't know. We need more shows that show. We need more shows that show full frontal.
I agree.
Has one.
Yeah, that's a good movie to watch. You'll check it out. But Nsima, have you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No. I don't even know what it is.
Dude, it's so good.
You'd like it.
You would love it.
You know what's a really naked show is Westworld is really naked. You ever see Westworld?
Oh yeah. The second episode of season 3 came out yesterday. It's very naked. Yep.
Yeah. They just sit there naked the entire time. It's weird.
Yeah, I've never.
But they're all robots, so it's okay. You know, we're not really looking at human beings. We're looking at synthetic cyborg type things. So it's all good.
Is it like something like Black Mirror, or there's a different?
It's not it's not an anthology series where Black Mirror was like one by one in terms of episodes. Westworld is it's straight through, but it's very Black Mirror-ish. So set in a future that's really weird. Yeah, you get Black Mirror vibes from Westworld for sure.
I think Andrew would dig it, right?
I think he would, but just I'm pretty sure Jasmine can't watch it with you guys. Yeah, Mark's. Yeah, don't watch it with Jasmine. That's a show for you and Steph. You guys would really actually dig it. It's pretty dope. Complicated but cool.
Either one of you gents hit the gym today?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm gonna
not
do
yet.
kettlebell workout right after, or probably soon after we get off of this. So
Yeah.
Yep. How about you guys?
I did a
you so
bicep
fast?
tricep workout this morning.
Ooh.
Because of
let's
course.
see. What do we got?
Oh man. Okay, hold on.
Get those biceps in there.
I was getting a little warm, anyways.
He's stripping down.
Let's see. Is there good lighting over here? Good.
Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, you worked them. That's proof.
There we go.
I see it. I see the bump.
Yeah, a little bump there. Did that and then followed it up with, of course, some lunges. Still been doing them every day, minus yesterday.
Nice.
But
I
yeah,
did some biceps. I did some triceps. In between, I did some step ups, and I did some squats. Felt good. Felt good to move around. What's your kettlebell routine like, Nsima?
It's going to change up from day to day, but today I think I want to probably do some snatches and some lunges, but some overhead lunges. I'm going to mix in something else with that too. So the overhead lunges I really dig because it's full body. Plus it's helping both like my shoulder. You have to stabilize that above you while you're lunging. And I always feel it feels great. So I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll mix in some type of rows or some type of push-ups with it, but I want it to be like a circuit type deal. So I'm mainly doing that because like I really like kettlebell stuff, but then I think that right now during this whole quarantine, if people can just like buy a cheap kettlebell, 20 or 30 pounder, and maybe one set of dumbbells, they can get in a mean workout that's really good as far as resistance is concerned. Because like a lot of people just are I can't say are choosing not to, because everybody has a different situation, but I feel like the situation of not being able to work out, a lot of us, the majority of us can work through that.
Yo, Andrew, how has the news, if at all, how has it bummed you out about what's going on, or has it not bummed you out?
It actually, oddly enough, motivated me to wake up earlier. Because I thought about it and I'm just like, damn, there are so many gyms that all gyms are closed, right? There's so many people that want to train right now and they can't. Oftentimes when we talk to like whether it be like an adapted athlete or someone that like can't do a certain movement, you instantly feel like, well, I personally kind of feel like shit where I'm like, dude, what's my excuse? So the past couple of days, like I've been like, dude, nobody can go to the gym right now, and I have an opportunity to go train by myself at super training. So I've actually kind of been using that as motivation to like, as soon as that alarm clock goes off, I'm just fired out like a cannon. So in that aspect, it's been really awesome. I can't really think of anything too negative. Oddly enough,
any anxiety just from hearing the news and hearing like the death toll and all that stuff?
Not so much. More of the, I guess, yeah, it is anxiety because it's the what if, like, what if I go see Stephanie's parents, because we were planning on seeing each other this weekend, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's worth it. So there's that, right? And then they ended up coming to visit us, and I'm like, hold on, like, what's happening here? So in that aspect, yeah, I do have a little bit of anxiety from that, but as far as hearing about the death tolls and stuff, again, not to sound like selfish, but it's just like I'm real ignorant to the whole thing. So like when I see like a death toll of what we'll say a couple thousand, I'm like, I can't even comprehend what that even means. So
yeah,
and this sucks to say, but like unless it's somebody like the closest that I've gotten so far is talking to Gabrielle Lyon, who said that somebody in her office is going to lose both her parents. That's actually when it became really real to me. And when I made a phone call to my mom to be like, hey, you guys need to stay indoors. Like, I'd rather be extremely safe than extremely sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to these numbers, and have them not affect you one way or the other. But probably the most recent stat that I heard is that, over 40,000 Americans have been confirmed to have the coronavirus, but about 500 have died from it. And that percentage, represents under 2%. It's like 1.6% or something like that. And then just earlier today, President Trump, it sounds like they're moving in the direction of lifting a lot of this quarantine off. And, they have the drug that they mentioned here on this very podcast, that Dr. Gabrielle Lyon mentioned on this podcast. That's going to be the first thing that they utilize. And the interesting thing about that is it's not a vaccine. Like I believe, and I don't even know, but like I think that a vaccine, inoculates you so you can't get the virus itself. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't rid you of it. These other medications, I believe, they help rid you of this virus that's going around. So I think things are going to look really good in probably the next 3 to 5 days or so. But I think the government and a lot of like what we know, won't get back to fully functioning for a while, probably.
Does that make you feel a little bit better about like seeing your pops?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that they're still going to tell everyone to proceed with a lot of caution. I still think they're going to, the weather's about to get nice. It's always nice here in California, but it's about to get very warm, and people are going to want to be outside barbecuing and all that kind of stuff. And so I think, we'll see that happiness and we'll see that joy, and then people will be like, hey, don't be doing that either. It's not time to do that just yet. But I think we'll see a lot of back and forth. But for the most part, I just think that whenever we get information, we should always question the knowledge, question, where it comes from, and question its authenticity, and then try to make the best informed decisions that you can make. And I think it's everyone's job to always stay connected to your disciplines the best that you possibly can, because even something as simple as being wanted at work, let's say you're the IT guy, let's say that you're the internet guy, and Susie in this other department needs you. I remember you're Susie, Andrew. Susie in this other department needs you. It just feels great to be needed. And I think that a lot of people are not experiencing that at the moment. They're laid off from their job. They don't have a schedule. Maybe they're not exercising. Maybe they're not getting some sunlight, and maybe they're just feeling down. So I would love for people to continue to experience, getting outside, continue experiencing getting sunlight, exercise, proper rest, good nutrition, just in the best way, in the most responsible way that you possibly can, so that you can feel good. Because that's, to me, I think that's what everything's always about. It's about optimizing yourself so you can feel good and be good enough to help other people.
I have a lot of friends that are messaging me, telling me how like depressed they are right now. Because like I was in a group chat with a few people, and like 2 of them were like, "Yeah, I'm feeling super depressed. I'm feeling super sad." And I was like, call up a friend, maybe just stand outside, talk, or take a walk together. Like I think we got quite a bit of flack for the hike we took recently. I was like seeing a lot of comments about people like, that's not social distancing. How are you guys going out in public like that? And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we're not out here coughing on each other. None of us are sneezing and drinking each other's water bottles. We're staying away from others as we're on this trail, being as responsible as can be. You don't have to go on a hike, but you can't shut yourself in absolutely. You do need to get outside and do something, but it doesn't have to be enclosed with other people, you know?
Yeah, I saw the tweet that you put out, Mark, and about, get busy living or get busy dying. And I haven't seen that people that fired up on your Twitter account in a long time.
Yeah, I don't normally speak my mind all that much on social media, believe it or not, even though some of the stuff I say is inflammatory. But sometimes it's in good fun just to be inflammatory on purpose. And other times I really do truly mean it, and I do truly believe it. But, I followed that post up with basically just saying that the economic and the psychological damage that this could do if it goes on for too long will far outweigh what the virus will actually do. And it will basically kill people that are still alive. It's holding people hostage. And I'm not in favor of that. And I would go as far to say is I would rather roll the dice and not really know. I'd rather just go for it. And maybe that's me, that's my personality. Now, where I could see where people can be really highly critical of that is like, hey, asshole, you could be killing me, or you could be killing my grandpa, or you could be killing. And so from that perspective, I do understand what people are talking about. But to me personally, I don't believe I don't even really believe in the quarantine. I don't even think that really helps. I think all it helps with is logistics. And I don't think it helps the medical system be able to potentially catch up with having enough ventilators and things like that. And I don't think it's actually so much about the disease, but I personally just think that if you kill our economy, that's a much bigger blow than just having some people die. And people might think that's not compassionate, but again, get busy living or get busy dying.
Do you think?
I heard you say that. Oh,
no, go ahead.
Dude.
Go ahead.
No, I heard you mention that on the video that you posted on your YouTube today, and I get what you're saying, but I think it's just like it's very hard, even for myself, to wrap my head around that, because it's like we're already seeing some of the damage it's having economically. We're already seeing people day by day. I'm seeing people on my Facebook feed that are out of a job right now, or they can't work. They have to try and get a job at Amazon or something like that. But it seems like, if we were to totally go back to normal, it seems like we'd be worse off than Italy if everyone started, right? And I get it. Some people are going to die. Yes. But it really is like it'll affect those individuals that are older, that are immunocompromised, et cetera. And even some that aren't. Like we were just having a conversation about a lot of people that are getting this are purely have high blood pressure as one of their issues. Nothing else. A lot of them have just high blood pressure, which is a lot of Americans. So it's like it almost seems like there's no purely correct answer, because you can't tell people to quarantine for months on end. It's too much, but you can't just go out and live normally.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing. And I think you end up kind of thinking about like risks, risk to reward. And again, the fact that it's not about, you, it's not about me, it's about like all of us. That puts things in a better perspective. Like, hey, it's not about you. So if you, want to go to the gym, or you want to do A, B, and C, you could potentially be killing other people. But what I would say to that is I probably have already killed other people that I'm not aware of, since, the flu kills a lot of people. Just by statistics, one of us has probably killed a couple of people by sneezing in an airport or whatever, as weird as that might sound or seem. And I understand that we're trying to prevent more of that. So I get it. And I understand the awareness. But I guess when I think about what I'm always trying to do. I just feel like there's risk all the time. And I think that, I always feel like it's our job to go out and get stuff every day. Like, you got to go out and get it. You got to get some exercise in. You got to be positive, and you got to be strong, and you got to be functioning well, for yourself and for other people, and provide for your family and stuff like that. So to me, that's like all I know how to do. And when someone says sit still, I'm not going to probably react all that great to that, because that's probably the one area where I'm weak. But when I think about even just my own life, if I was to say to somebody, hey, you get to live to be 70 years old, and you can be well off for about half of your life. So that would be like my story. I don't know when this ends, but I really didn't do much until I was 35. At the age of 35, I started the slingshot and stuff like that, and things took off. It was a little younger than that, but anyway, let's say, I was to propose other people with that, and I said, hey, you get to live to be about 70, which is, 12 to 15 years shy of living what we would consider to be a full life, since males live to be like around 80 something, right? Let's say you have an option of living to, let's just say 60 even, okay? Let's say 60, but you get to be well off versus 100. And the most amount of money you ever make is about 50K a year, And, I think that a lot of people would say, hey man, you know what? I'll take the 60 years old. I'll take dying early, because I'd rather make the money, have the money, support my family, and even leave behind some dough for my family, so that's where my thought process is. Like, and I do understand that everyone else is entitled to feel, whatever way they want. But that's kind of my thought process on it.
So when you're saying that about the quarantine, is it more of because you think that everyone's going to eventually get the virus, or because it's it really just genuinely just doesn't do anything?
Yeah, I think that everyone is going to get it, or they have already had it or experienced it in some way. And then I also just don't think, at least according to all the stats I'm seeing, I'm not reading everything that comes in, and I'm also not checking all the sources of every single thing that's coming in. But it's to my understanding that this is a highly contagious virus, but it doesn't seem to be nearly as deadly as they are. They keep talking about death, and they keep talking about death toll, and I think that's a great way to scare you into staying at home. So if that's what they wanted, then that's what they got, and that part worked. But what I want everyone to kind of consider is I believe that within the next week or two, we'll probably be right back at it. And what I would ask you is what has really changed? What has changed in China? So there's not a vaccine currently. We can all agree upon that. It doesn't seem like there's any medication other than some speculation on something that they're going to release in New York City tomorrow. So why has China gone back to work? Right? China's gone back to work because they'll fucking die if they don't continue to work, because they won't have an economy. So that's why they went back to work. There's a risk there, but the reward sounds better of let's not let the country die, and let's not let the future of the country die just because we think that we need to stay home.
Yeah, no, we talked about this in terms of China. It seems really difficult to believe that there were 0 new cases the other day when they posted that. It's very hard to believe that there are 0 new cases, especially since it transmits so easily. But we were also talking about one of the issues of what happens if so many people end up being at work for a long period of time. They're not able to make certain payments, they're not able to even potentially buy the food that they need, no matter how much aid that they get. You're going to start seeing some real actual violence in the streets. You're going to things will become extremely chaotic. And it's like, okay, do things become chaotic, or do we try to go back to some semblance of normal where people can work, they can try and provide? It's no good either way. But I see what you mean by going back to normal.
Yeah, I think asking the country to quarantine is like asking somebody to meditate that's not open to it. Like it's not going to last very long. So I think it's over. I really do. I really believe that at least by April 1, 2, 3, or 4, like it'll be gone. Because I don't even know if it's that effective. I know that that's what everyone thinks, is that if we just stay away from each other, it will be effective. But if it's still circulating out there, and if a lot of people already have it, I guess the hope is that everyone is like over it by the time we all like resume, and like if we pause everybody, and then if we say, okay, 3 months from now, you all can go back to doing what you're doing because it's not around anymore. I would just guess that even the 40,000 people that had it, they probably passed it on to some other people. So it's not completely gone from the world. There's probably some representation of it still. So I just don't even know if it's effective. I do believe it's effective at slowing it down. I do believe it's effective at slowing down everything. And I think that slowing things down for a little bit is probably what we've needed, but I don't think we need too much more of it.
Yeah. I think also, we definitely know that it is effective in slowing it down, and the medical system needs to be able to deal with it. But if we're going to try and get back to normal, there are going to have to be things that we don't do until there's a legitimate thing to help individuals that have the virus and a vaccine. For example, certain stores were allowing older individuals to come to the stores at certain times. If things go back to normal, that's something that has to stay. And then also, for example, my mom is now being able to work from home. She's 62. She's going to be retiring soon, but she's 60 something, right? I think that's going to have to be probably an option for anybody that's in close to that age bracket to have the ability to work from home if they want to, so that they can distance themselves. But people will have to be able to go back to work. People will have to be able to go, and that will end up being their choice. There has to be structures in place to help keep certain people that are more at risk than others, safe.
Yeah, what do you guys think about school now?
I agree.
Well, I don't have any kids. I have an idea, but Mark knows.
Yeah, I think that if things go back to normal, then I think that when does school usually get out? So I think that they still might catch some of the tail end of the school year, but it might just look a little different than it has in the past. But yeah, I think, look, President Trump he's a different president. He's a different person than we're used to having, in there. And so he's going to make some drastic and some bold moves that I think that that maybe look different from what a lot of other countries have done. I know that England, in the UK, I believe that they have not quarantined. I believe that they have other ways that they have chosen to deal with this, and just from what I've heard, and I'd have to look further into this. So I could
just went on lockdown today.
But they went on lockdown today.
Just today, like 2 hours ago.
Right. And so maybe they have new information, maybe they have new stats they're going by that kind of leads them to that. But my understanding before was that they were just kind of hoping that their population would build a resilience towards it. And that was kind of my point. And I definitely could have done a better job of making my point on my YouTube video. Sometimes you get a little fired up, and then you don't make your point the correct way. And on my YouTube video, basically, what I was trying to say was that I just think that people are just really just they end up acting or overreacting to things sometimes. And I think in some of these cases where we're starting to see, these quarantines and people just, being so safe about it, I think that it can be good, and I think it can slow things down. But at the same time, I just don't know how effective it really is. And then again, like just looking at China, like they're back up and running, and I don't know if that's going to spark everything back up again, and it's going to continue to make everything spread. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think just by us seeing China get through it without like a vaccine or without anything too crazy. Well, I mean, I don't know exactly how crazy their quarantine got, because I heard that they were like welding people's doors shut and stuff. But I think by like kind of like the 4-minute mile thing, right? We're going to see that like, oh, they got through it, so we're going to get through it too. And then kind of opens up that whole mindset and idea of like, oh, they're fine, we're going to be fine too. And kind of like the reverse of like what you were saying, Mark, about like, oh, everyone's getting the coronavirus, I think I just got sick. And they just give themselves like the flu.
Right.
So I think it could be that, but the opposite, right?
I just had
right. And like I said, I do think that Trump will try to make bold moves, Yeah. What was that?
I just had a client that texted me today that his sister just tested positive, and he's been like with his sister because they've been taking care of their mom. So that means he probably has it. It's really, it's something crazy.
And where are they from?
New York.
It is definitely crazy. It's definitely a crazy thing, and you keep hearing like it's hard not to overreact, or it's hard not to react in any way, because you see on the news so much about all these people that have it, and then you keep hearing about these different death rates and these different death tolls, and it's like impossible to make like good informed decisions when you're in a panic, when you keep hearing all the different things going on all the time. And so I think it's what we keep hearing is that people are contracting it, but I don't know if we're knowing enough. And we keep hearing people are contracting it, and they keep talking about the death rate, but I don't think they're talking enough about the recovery. I wish they talked to more people that had it. I have been seeing a little more of that recently. They've been talking to more people that have had it, and I think that's this one case in particular, I think, is what made President Trump enact that New York starts using this compound tomorrow, is because this guy was pretty much on his deathbed, and he said goodbye to his kids and everything, and he was out. He could barely breathe, he could barely talk, and he took this chloroquine, I believe is the drug that he took, and then he was okay. And he mentioned that within like a 24-hour period of having this IV, that he woke up the next day as if nothing ever happened, which is like completely remarkable. So hopefully, that drug, I think that's what Trump is, resting his hat on, is that drug will, continue to assist and help people. And they might have to do, more research and more understanding. But I think Trump is like, hey, I have really heard all I need to hear, since they already know that that drug has previously helped with a lot of other viruses. And I think it specifically has helped with coronaviruses in the past. But the coronavirus that came around this time is different than anybody's ever seen before. And I think he's just like, hey, screw it. Let's get this rolling. And I think that's unprecedented. Like shit like that does not happen, and never happens, because there's always so much testing, and they're always so careful. And, it's interesting to find out people's views on that. Like if it was your family member and they died from that, I personally would be in favor of it. I would personally be like, yeah, man, hey, let's fail fast. Let's find out quick, because my family member's already compromised, and I don't want them to die. But I would love for other people to not have to go through what I'm going through. And so if that compound doesn't work, maybe they, try out some different ones. Maybe they find a solution faster.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I was listening to. Oh, it was the guy that Joe Rogan had on. This was like the
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was just saying like, you know, finding a vaccine's not the hard part. Finding a vaccine that like is gonna the body will accept is the hard part. And it was kind of like, you know, it seemed like it was really, really complex. Like, obviously it is, but it seems like it was a little bit more than just like, hey, take this, whatever that compound is, and then we'll go from there. But if it can be as easy as that, I mean, man, I think, yeah, we'll find a cure real quick.
Yeah, I know, like a vaccine is weird because you're trying to build up the antibodies, trying to have the antibodies build up in your body to be able to fight it off in the future. Versus this drug, I don't think is considered a vaccine. It doesn't have. I believe that what they're trying to do doesn't have the coronavirus in it with this drug chloroquine. But if that can rid you of it, then I think you're good to go, as long as the side effects aren't anything too crazy, like you grow a second penis.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
That wouldn't be so bad. But how about this? When it comes to just people day to day, like I'm seeing a lot of people that are, like we said, getting depressed. I think you mentioned like obviously getting a schedule, getting a routine. What else is some things that you would suggest that people start being serious about doing right now if they can?
I definitely think sunlight is crucial, you know, trying to get some sort of sunlight. So that doesn't even really require you to exercise, but I do think, getting outside would be important. I would also say, like, if you feel like your day to day is pretty like low key and you're not challenging your brain at all, I would find something to do that does that. You could put together a puzzle. You could do crosswords. You could read. You could write. I think you mentioned this before, Nsima, you know, projects. Like, how many projects do people have around their house that they haven't gotten to? They've been talking about putting up that fence forever. That would be, I think that would reign supreme over everything, you know, going outside, getting some work done. Whatever it is that might be needed to be done around the house, you might be able to put a little more energy into it. And I had a lot of people on my Instagram recently tell me all these different things that they were doing. Because, you know, I was talking about like boredom. I was talking about like, hey, like, what the hell are you guys doing to stay active and to continue to smile and to continue to have fun? You know, so find things that are of interest to you that you otherwise normally couldn't get to. I know that, everyone's so scared and rightfully so that they're not going to have money for A, B, or C, but you can kind of view this time as you have this kind of free, independent time until you're able to figure out another job or another way of making ends meet. And at that time, you can perhaps work on some different things that you didn't have an opportunity to work on before.
And I think that is super, like, we have time right now to do things. But another thing is like the other day, me and my friend, we were just hanging out in front of his house, quite a few feet apart, right? Just talking. We talked for like an hour and 30 minutes. He actually has asthma, so being very careful not to step into his house or not to do anything. We're talking, right? But that conversation was extremely fruitful. I think human interaction right now, one of the big reasons why this could really mess with people is because a lot of people, no matter if you're introverted or you're extroverted, you do thrive around being in contact and conversing with other people. And if you totally stop trying to do any of that, that can be super damaging. It's super easy, like the post you had on Instagram, how Pornhub subscriptions, the premium Pornhub subscriptions have increased. It's very easy to fall down the rabbit hole of beating your meat uncontrollably because you want some human interaction. Like, real talk. It'll be very easy to fall down that rabbit hole. So we gotta find a way to actually be a little bit more of a community somehow.
That was one of the best memes that I had seen thus far. It was like during like quarantine, girls, I don't know what to do, guys, and it was just a bunch of like meat tenderizers, dudes punching steaks, and just it was just dudes beating their meat.
Oh man, but I mean, hey, like it really does make sense. It makes a massive amount of sense about the Pornhub thing, because a lot of me included in the past, a lot of us use that as a means of feeling connection. And when you don't have connection with people, what happens? Well, like you'll fall into some bad habits. So we got to try and fight that right now.
I agree.
Really cool thing.
How about you, Andrew? What you up?
Oh,
What's up?
So how about you, Andrew? What you been up to?
I mean,
I know you've been lifting.
Yeah, lifting, but this I don't know. It says a lot about me, but like this quarantine thing has been like right up my alley. It's been kind of nice, like staying home and not really worrying about like, oh fuck, we got another birthday party to go to, or I gotta go somewhere, I gotta meet up with somebody. Like I've been really enjoying just being home alone. I hope that doesn't sound terrible, but like it's been really nice on like for me. Yeah, it's been really cool. And like I heard this on another podcast, like I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, and it just made a lot of sense to me. This guy was just saying, you know, some people recharge their batteries with connecting with other people. Other people recharge their batteries by being completely alone. And I'm definitely one of those persons that loves to be alone. Like I just, like, I don't know. It to me, like I can kind of almost like center and rebalance myself. And I think that's kind of what's been happening to me. Just, you know, I'm with my family, which is fantastic, but like just staying home and like, you know, coming back from the gym, knowing like once I get home, like we're good. Like I stay home. Like I don't have to worry about getting something together to head out the door in the next like 5 minutes. Cause that's usually what we do. It's like go, pass out once we get home. It's been so nice to just like stay home and actually like hang out here. And it's fun. I mean, I'm recording from what used to be my daughter's room. That's why it's pink behind me. It's now the office because she wanted to switch rooms, and we finally had the time to like switch everything over like completely. So it's been really, really cool to like clean up around the house and do things that we didn't have time for. Like Nsima was saying, you know, like these side projects that we've had, I just haven't had time to do any of them. And now we have all this time, and like we're just hanging out, and like talking on the phone with my family was pretty cool too. But like, yeah, I haven't felt like isolated or like the need to like run outside and talk to neighbors or anything like that. Getting out in the sun was really, really nice today, but I've been thriving in this environment.
This is what it's like to have financial freedom. You don't have to be anywhere ever.
Man, that sounds
Pretty
great. That sounds really nice. Yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah, being able to say no to a bunch of shit is all I want to do.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? Have you been doing anything like new with your time?
Not really, you know, just been kicking it with the kids, but like, you know, I do that quite a bit. Just a little bit more like walks and stuff like that with them, and you know, just hanging at the house. And you know, like I said, we did some puzzles. You know, we're trying to really make sure that we're just around each other a little bit more. Not too different than normal. We try to do that anyway, but like it's easy to make an excuse about it when you know, don't have time for it. But now it feels like we have lots of time, and I don't feel like I need to like race to bed to, you know, wake up super early to, you know, do all that stuff. So everything's just a little bit more lax. And I actually think that some of this is really good for America. I think pumping the brakes and having everything kind of reset is probably good. And then also a little bit of a kick in the ass for everybody of like, hey, like something like this could happen again. And next time around, it could actually be something that, you know, hey, you got 24 hours to live because you caught this virus, you know? And so I think this is a little, you know, dress rehearsal for, you know, I hope it doesn't happen, but it could be a dress rehearsal for more nasty things to come. And I'm, you know, trying to teach my kids about that. We're talking a lot about it. For me, it brings up a lot of opportunity for education. You know, we can freely sit here and talk about the government and why, you know, Governor Newsom, you know, imposed this and why Trump recommended that, or why this person is saying, you know, these things. And we can talk about their education and their school. And like I asked my son today, I'm like, you know, I said, what do you think? So I said, if you discontinued school, the traditional, you know, going to school, right, and you just had the curriculum for the year, we just got it, you know, because you legally have to have like an education. So I said, would you do better with school or just with the curriculum, working on it on your own? And he goes, oh, I know the answer to that. And I was like, well, what is it? He's like, I'd do way better by myself. He's like, I would learn faster and I would probably get better grades. And I said, I agree with you 100%. And he said, but I wouldn't want to do it. He's like, I'd rather go to school. And, you know, his reason to go to school is like, just because you see other people, you know, and that's when I made the post a few days ago about, you know, our public education system and some of that stuff. It was kind of rooted in that, you know, like, yes, I think school is great, but I just think it goes on for entirely too long, goes on for way too many years. I really don't, no one even, as much as we want to think that we interject and we teach people stuff, we really don't teach anybody anything, I don't think. I think that people come to their own conclusions, their own way, on their own time, and it just so happens to be the stuff that interests them, hits them at the right time. Even with kids, I never taught my kids how to talk, you know. I didn't really teach them how to talk. I didn't teach them language. They just wanted to better way to communicate that they shit themselves or that they're hungry. And they figure it out on their own. So, you know, it's been great to be able to communicate and to talk. I had an amazing conversation last night with Jake and Quinn, and you guys would have a blast because they are just ripping me apart. You guys would just be like on the ground laughing. I don't even know how we got in this conversation. But we talked about like the oldest living things. Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned an idea to Jake of like how he's not necessarily 16 years old. I said, you're 15 years dead. Like 15 years that you'll never get back. Like they're gone. Like those years are, you know. And so we were talking about this kind of stuff, and we got in this like deep conversation. And I was like, what's the oldest living animal? And he's like, oh, there's a volcano sponge that's like 15,000 years old or something crazy like that. I'm like, what the fuck's a volcano sponge? And we all start laughing because Jake just knows random stuff. And then I was like, what about like a turtle? I was like, aren't there turtles that are really old? And he's like, well, not really like a turtle. He's like more like a tortoise. He's like, yeah, like a desert tortoise. They can be really old. And I'm like, wait, I was like, a desert tortoise? I'm like, that's somehow different than a turtle? He goes, oh yeah. He's like, they're way different than a turtle. He's like, they don't swim. I said, what? A tortoise doesn't swim? He's like, no. He's like, I don't even think they can swim at all. And so I'm like looking it up, and then Quinn and Jake are like in tears laughing at me. Andy's laughing at me. She's like, no, it's like those big fucking desert tortoises. She's like, they weigh like 900 pounds. They don't swim anywhere. I'm like, well, I don't
Seriously?
know. I don't know. But none of these conversations would happen, I don't think, if we weren't all locked up together, you know?
That's amazing, because I know Jake's probably just like looking down at you as he's giving you all this good information. He's just like, dude, how do you not know this?
Yeah, he's just crushing me. Like, yeah, no, he thinks it should be like complete, you know, that everyone should know this already, you know.
How the heck would you know that I would think that a desert tortoise, well, not a desert tortoise if it was told to me it was a desert tortoise, but I would think all tortoises swim.
I didn't even know that there was such thing as a desert tortoise. Like that's brand new to me. I didn't know that there was turtles or tortoise eyes in the desert.
Well, just to set me up, like, see how dumb I really am. They're like, Jake's like, he's like, how big do you think these things are? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I've seen those tortoises before. They're huge. I'm like, they're probably like 1,000 pounds. He's like, what? 1,000 pounds? He's like, it's not the size of a car, you know? But then we looked it up, and the biggest, the biggest tortoise ever was 900 pounds. So I wasn't too far off.
That is absolutely insane. But like when you were mentioning in terms of how kids will typically land on stuff on their own, and they'll take from school. Like when I think about even like the things that I did in school and the classes that I took, and like the depth that we went to in terms of math or whatever, I ain't using pre-calc for anything. I mean, I ain't using calc for anything, right? Like. With what I do right now, nothing that I learned in school other than maybe how to read, but I don't think you need to learn how to read in school. Other than that, I'm not using anything in what I do these days. Like, if anything, I wish I learned about taxes and how to balance a checkbook and those types of things in school. That would have helped out a lot.
What about like
who can do your taxes? My son.
Because he knows how
My son can do your taxes. Yeah, he knows how to do taxes. He's a freak, man. It's craziness.
Hey, but who taught him that?
My dad.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Dad.
Yeah,
Grandpa.
not school.
Right.
Yeah. What about like speech and grammar and that sort of thing, though, Nsima? You speak on a podcast, so having some verbal communications is definitely going to be.
None of it was from school, bro. Like the reason why I can speak to people, I guess, well or whatever, is number one, yeah, I learned how to read and talk, right? But most of my public speaking abilities came from when I worked at sales at a gym when I was 21, 22, and I was forced to sell. Like, I was forced to learn sales and sell to people and connect with people in that way. Because prior to that, and even prior to when I worked at Abercrombie, like I was always a nervous wreck when I talked to people. So no, that school didn't help me in terms, because I was the worst at speeches in school. I would get up in front of the classroom, I'd bumble and mumble over my words. I was horrible, but you wouldn't necessarily guess that now. And that came from my work experience.
Makes sense.
Man, I hated that shit in school. That'd make me feel super sick. I was pretty chill about just about everything except for that. Yeah. That would make me crazy. I hated talking in front of people.
The worst part was because I had to wing pretty much every presentation that I ever did in school. Like, it was a book report or something. I didn't read the book. Whatever the hell the presentation was about, it was literally, I learned it 5 seconds before I walked up and said it. Naturally, didn't get a lot of passing grades, but it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You think like Mark, for yourself, like let's try to think of everything we got from school. What do you really take away? Like right now, with what you're doing right now, do you think that there's anything beneficial for you from there?
I think that all the stuff from school is all the side stuff, maybe, some kids get bullied, how do you not get bullied? Well, maybe you cannot be bullied by standing up for yourself. Or maybe if that's not an option, maybe you can make friends with another kid that's pretty big, maybe you can figure out a way to fly under the radar, or I think all those things are like the things that you learn in school. You learn how to interact with people. I think some of it is for the negative though too, it's not all positive. There's a lot of cliques in school, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And, just like any other school, I had a lot of that in my school. And I personally tried to avoid a lot of that. But luckily, I kind of had an upper hand just because I was an athlete and because I had two brothers that went to the same school. So I was already like well known. So it didn't really matter what I did. I didn't have to be part of any sort of clique or anything like that. But I would say that those are probably the things that you learn that are just not even in the classroom. You learn to do. So one thing I think has a lot of value in school is that maybe if you do learn one thing from it is that you learn that you can get like rewarded, and you can get, not even like ahead is the wrong word. You can get rewarded because school, like, it either rewards you or you get in trouble kind of thing, right? Which is horrible. Like, it should not be run that way. But you do learn that you can get rewarded by doing stuff that you probably don't really want to do. Teaching you to do things maybe that you don't normally want to do them when you don't normally want to do them. If you just make the simple decision instead of playing a video game again, but you make the simple decision to study for your test, you'll do better on your test. The problem is that school, the only method they have of showing whether you've done well or not is through like a test, and also through like coercion, through like, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And unfortunately, that is the biggest killer of one of the most important education pieces that there is, and that's creativity. And it stifles creativity. So, I think that that's the biggest problem in school. I don't think that there needs to be tests. I don't think that there needs to be grades. I think that what needs to be taught is, let's be super creative. And I think even the world as we know it, if more people were able to be free thinkers and to kind of Elon Musk every situation that they can think of, I think that we would have a lot better solutions to stuff, and we would get back to what I've mentioned earlier about being able to problem solve. And I think that's ultimately why you need to gain knowledge in the first place, so you can figure out what would be a better way. What would be a better way to do this? Well, you get a better way to do it through knowledge, and that's what school is supposed to be about. But again, as I said, I think that school stifles that with all the rules and all the structure, and I just don't think it needs any of that. And you know what? If you don't want to learn and you want to be a dick and you want to act out and act weird, I think it's fine. It's just like, just maybe have the kid, sit outside the classroom for a while. He comes back in. If he disrupts the class again, he goes back out there. But there's no punishment, no reason for anybody to get mad at him. It's like, hey, that kid, he doesn't care about this topic. You can even tell him, hey, go for 5 walks around the building. Mm-hmm. Class will be over by the time you get back. Who cares if he learns it or not? It's up to him. That's kind of the way I look at it.
That'd probably be very effective too, because then you'd get to see like, okay, so and so doesn't like math, but he actually for some reason digs like history. So maybe like, okay, well, this makes sense. So we're gonna actually put him on the track towards that now.
Yeah, and when history comes up, you say, hey, why don't you get up here and talk about it? And maybe the kid gets to talk about it and interact more, and that's his strength, and he feels good about that. Because, like, who really has a profession right now that they're really weak at? Who in this world is making tons of money in a profession or in something that they're really weak at? Nobody. They're in something that they love. Maybe they don't love it, and maybe they've made millions off of it or something somehow. But for the most part, there's got to be some sort of spark there. There's got to be some sort of interest there.
So let me ask you this. What about the resistance towards grades? Because I feel like it's awesome to lead someone towards the things that they're actually interested in. But I feel like grades, somehow we got to figure out a way to do it where, it can still be motivating, but still show that you have a lack, that I don't know, you maybe could understand something better. you know? And like, for example, right now in all this fitness stuff where we're learning about the podcast, I went from thinking that I was at like a B in terms of my understanding of things to an F. Like, I feel like I'm at an F, right? Because I could see all the things that I don't know. So how would you think there's a better way to handle the grading system?
I think, knowledge is like a moving target, and it's maybe like the horizon. You know, you can see it, but you can't ever get to it. You can't ever know all of what's knowable. And as I've gotten closer to people that are smarter and smarter, what I learn is that the smartest people, they say something that my dad would never say, but I learned to say, and that's, I don't know. So I think the truth is that no one really knows. Like, your guess is as good as mine. Like, Andrew can go on Twitter or go on IG and make some crazy statement that we think is crazy. He can make some crazy statement about what's happening in the U.S. and how it's crazy, and he thinks it should be the complete opposite. And it could turn out that he's right. You know, it could turn out that he's correct. So the education system's understanding of whether you're learning material or not, I don't think it really matters a ton, because I think it will all balance itself out. Like, I personally don't need you to tell me what I need to know, you know? And I don't need the government to do that either. I don't need the state to do that. I don't need anyone to say, hey, you know, you're only on a 4th grade reading level and you're in 11th grade. I already knew that I sucked at reading. I don't need to identify it back to being, you know, that far behind other people or whatever, you know. And even if I was ahead, I don't think there's any reason to. I don't know how it's really all that useful. I think that the way that you would understand, if you would need some way of understanding whether people are learning it or getting it. But I think if you taught in this way and you saw the creativity that it would manifest, I think that you would understand quickly and you would say, hey, well, it appears that he gets this well enough. I think, you know, basic understanding of things, and also to really answer that question even on a larger scale, I don't really think that there should be school. So I don't think that there needs to be school for kids. I think that the only school that should exist is like universities and stuff like that, because then you can determine what what you want to do when you're old enough to make decisions about. You know, you're not old enough to vote. You're not old enough to rent a car. You're not old enough to go to war, but you're old enough to be trapped in school every day for X amount of hours. And I'm just not a fan of it. I think that you would ultimately, you know, where you would be tested would be once you made a decision towards, like, I am interested in this, I want to learn this, and then somebody can say, hey, you know what, you have graduated from a white belt to this belt. You've graduated. I think the belt system is actually great because it's very open to interpretation. Obviously, a black belt means you worked really hard. But as you know, Nsima, like, there's some black belts where you're like, yeah, kind of, right? There's probably a couple guys out there that have a purple and stuff where you're like, yeah, like he went to that school or whatever, you know? And so I think that a system like that would, in my opinion, it would make more sense to me, at least, maybe not anybody else.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think there was we talked a little bit about this once, but there's this book that John Berardi suggested called Range. And I think it's like why generalists thrive in a I don't know, specific world or something like that. It's whatever. But the whole premise is like there have been a lot of innovations that have happened in like even the fields of like medicine that have come from people who aren't in that field, but just people who have like a range of understanding on other things that help the medical field. Like you look at Steve Jobs, who had a love for, font and the design, and he ended up making strides in the computing field. So like allowing kids to really go out there and figure out different things could allow for less specific thinking. Because I think everybody thinks like a robot. You have this, and this that you need to learn to get to this, right? So it fucks up everything that allows you to be creative and have different ideas for these different things. It messes up creativity. And it's one of those things like where people end up saying, I'm not a creative person. I used to say that about myself too. Like, I mean, I wasn't amazing in school. I wasn't a straight A student, but I did okay. But I also thought that I wasn't a creative individual either, because I was all about structure. But when I ended up leaving that structure and I was forced to just do the things that I wanted to do, I found out that I'm a pretty damn creative dude when I put my mind to it. And I would have never been able to think that outside of the realm of school.
Yeah, these are things that you probably came to the conclusion of some of these things through school when they said, hey, you get to think of whatever you want, and you could write on anything you want, and you kind of just picked something that you like saw 10 seconds ago or something you saw in a movie because you didn't think you were creative. Whereas if somebody said, hey, you know what, Nsima, you can be just as creative as anybody else, but you have to work at it. For some people, it might come to them a little bit more naturally. For you, you're going to have to kind of think about it. You might have to figure out a way to dislocate yourself from some of the beliefs that you have, from some of the things that you've heard in order to, write this fairy tale or whatever it would be. Something totally wild, off the wall that no one's ever heard before. On the same token, though, I think that there's people that like myself who, I kind of you have to think something positively of yourself. So because I was kind of pigeonholed into some of those special classes and stuff, I was like, well, maybe I can just be like more of an athlete, and maybe I can just be like creative with stuff, because I recognized at a young age that whenever it came to like practical math and whenever it came to thinking outside of the classroom, it felt like I always had a decent solution, or at least I thought I did. And my parents would always kind of look at me and kind of do a double take and be like, whoa, like you just really simplified that. And I kind of heard that over and over. And so it encouraged me to go that way. Where I was discouraged, though, was with structure. So I was the opposite. And then you say to yourself, I'm the worst, man. I'm not an organized person. And it turns out that I can learn what you learned, and you can learn what I learned. And it's actually, it's not any harder than you or I adapting to something that we don't love to do, like running. Could you and I run every day for 3 miles, 5 miles, 8 miles? Sure, we could. It's just a matter of like, are we interested in enough to do it for a long enough time? We possess the ability to do it. It's just not something that we really want to get into. And I think that a lot of people are suppressed, and you're still dealing with when you own a business, you end up dealing with everyone's childhood, which is like one thing. Like that's one thing to like unpack and to figure out like, oh man, this poor guy or this poor girl never got a hug. They never were told they did a good job. And now I got to fucking deal with this every day. You're like, holy shit. But then the other thing you got to unravel and unpack is how they were treated in school. It's like a whole nother subset of things. And that can be even way more damaging, because they probably spent, again, if we go back to what I've said about school just being so damn long, they spent more time in school than they ever did with their family.
How about you, Andrew? How do you feel about like, because you didn't learn the things you know right now from school, but did it help you at all? Like at all? Try to think of something that really helped you out, if there was anything.
So that's why I asked you earlier about like speech and grammar, because I feel like some of the English classes that I took or that I had with writing and stuff, that's helped me out today. Because just like simple punctuation and grammar, I still misspell everything, but when it comes to writing posts for like whether it be descriptions or like IG posts and stuff, I think that did help me. But I was already interested in that before I ever took any classes. Like in elementary school, I was already like really into writing back then. So fast forward to like, you know, real like English, whatever. I don't even know what they're called these days. Like I didn't do great in them, but I learned enough to where I can actually use that today. But again, I was already into it. So what I got out of school, I don't know, because I didn't get like no like good grades out of it. I do know that when I did like spend some time in college, the classes that I got into, my older friends were still trying to get into those classes because they were like actual like I don't even know what it's called, but like to get your what's that first degree? Your
Bachelor's?
No, even smaller than that. Whatever the first one is. See, this is how much we care about school. But whatever that first like level is, you needed to pass this English class, and I just like walked Associate's degree. Thank you, sir. That one. Whatever English class that is, and people who are like, you know, have their degrees are like, dude, I passed that in like summer school in my like, you know, 7th grade or whatever. But anyways, I hung out with a lot of stupid people, so they couldn't get into that class out of high school. They had to take like prep classes to get into it. And I just walked right into it, and I didn't like really struggle at all. But as far as like what I do these days, no, I didn't really. I mean, I never even tried to do anything in school. Like I never like was so motivated to do anything to where I'm like, oh, I need to work on that outside of school. It was always like, shit, I got to get through this just so I can get home to play video games or, you know, watch basketball, whatever it was. Like I was never motivated. Nothing ever like captured my mind like you see in like movies and stuff where like, you know, here's this like troubled kid who like, you know, gets detention, and this one teacher takes him under his wing, and next thing you know, they're like, you know, on stage somewhere performing or doing something. Nothing ever like that happened. And no, like I seriously think the only thing that carried over is like just writing, but like I said, I already loved doing that. So I think just maybe picking up a couple things here and there, but for the most part, no, there's nothing in school. Like when it comes to like math equations, if they're more than plus minus, I have to Google it. I literally don't even know how to put in like the percentages and stuff on my calculator. I just Google like 15% off of like 20 or whatever it is, you know, and that's how I figure out like decimals and percentages and fractions and stuff, especially if Jasmine has homework. It's the worst. I can't help her. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just going to Google it. Like we'll scribble some like stuff that you can't really read. So that way it looks like you can show your work, which is also really bad.
In terms of not trying, did you maybe not try because it also like it wasn't cool? It wasn't like, right? Like there's that side of it. It's not cool to try, and the other side of it is like because you have other, you know, you got other classmates and other people with you, and then even the other side of that is like, what's the reward? Like what? Yes, I understand. I can go to the principal's office, and yes, I understand I get in trouble if I have bad grades, and yes, I can get like detention and some of these things, but like what's the real upside? And I don't even know if anyone explains to you what the upside really is. I don't think they tell you. What we've talked about here is that, you know, you're trying to continue to gain this knowledge so you can solve problems for yourself in the future. I don't think they're really laying it out that way.
No, I mean, I just remember in high school was like, everything was like, hey, these grades are going to follow you for the rest of your like life. So if you don't get good grades, yeah, you're not going to get into a good school. And then if these habits follow you through college, then you really cannot get rid of a college grade. And I just remember being like, oh shit, well maybe I just don't want to go to college then, because that sounds terrible. But yeah, I didn't try because I didn't care. Like I didn't want to care. There was nothing I wanted out of school. It was just to show up and leave, if I even did show up. I wasn't necessarily worried about other people's opinions of me, of like being like the nerd or whatever. I didn't have any self-confidence, that's for sure. Like, so trying and then failing probably would have been really bad for me. And instead, I just didn't even try and just kept failing. But yeah, no, I didn't really care about other people's, what they thought of me or anything. You said it earlier, I kind of just like kept to myself and kind of was already self-isolating back then. Just kind of just stay away from like, stay under the radar. That's what you had said. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I did pretty much all throughout high school.
Did you think you knew it was bullshit? Like that the grades were like literally going to follow you around the rest of your life?
I knew it was bullshit back then.
Yeah.
There was no question about that. I knew back then that this, whatever science class that I was taking, like, there was nothing there that I was going to pick up where I'm going to be like, oh yeah, that's going to help me in my career later on down the road. I did take business math once I passed algebra, because that was the only class you needed to pass, and then the lowest class you could take was business math. And I think in that class they taught you how to balance a checkbook, and I remember that was pretty useful. But because we use checkbooks every day now, so I guess it's not very helpful.
Yeah, I don't think I even like this. I haven't touched a checkbook.
No.
When's the last time I wrote a check? I don't know.
Maybe to like your first month's rent or something like that, where you can't like give them cash or with a card or something.
And my taxes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how to write a check. I don't have any clue. I don't even know where to start.
I think I might have checks from you, like from the early days of when I started working at Super Training.
Yeah, sure do. But yeah, they're definitely not actually from me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it just seems that there needs to be.
This is our first. Go ahead.
Nah, like it's like from what Andrew said, his how he learned how to write, right? Like when you think about that, well, do you need school to learn how to like write? Like if we were to take it into our own hands, even if you really enjoyed writing, you don't need it to like learn how to get to an advanced writing level to learn something like that. But it's
if you know when to use the right there and the right it's and when to put a comma, you are good, because that's the only thing that people can like really fire back at you online now. Is if you put like the wrong punctuation. That's really the only time it matters these days. Other than that, fuck it. Spell check. Google has an amazing tool.
Isn't there an app for that, by the way? Fuck.
Yeah, there is. Grammarly. Google Docs does an amazing job of it now. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, no, as far as like, if you want to be a good writer, you're not going to get it in school. You need that shit that comes from practice and just the will and want and passion from it. It's not going to come from because you took an advanced English class or an advanced writing class, although it'll help if you already have it there. Oh, I don't know. Where'd Mark go?
You're reading a lot of good books.
There you go.
I was just shuffling around for a second.
What was
you
that?
guys know, I don't know if this is, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Am I good? Yep. I don't know if you guys saw, there's an author, I think it's Dean Koontz, and he has a book where he, I don't know if this is fake news or not. I saw it floating around the internet, but he has a book where he identifies something like the coronavirus happening in 2020. I don't know if you guys saw any of that.
No, but damn. I would assume it was either him or The Simpsons that probably predicted it.
Yeah.
I saw.
I'll send you guys. Pretty wild.
I wonder. I since now I have the capacities of our resident genius Andrew on Google. I typed it in, and the second link says Dean Koontz did not predict a coronavirus in a 1981 novel. But that's CNN, so you really can't trust them.
Fake news. Yeah, as I looked into it further, it kind of appeared that he kind of did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't determine whether it was real or not. You just never know. But anyway, I think with the knowledge that we have now of what happened, we can use this experience to understand that something like this or something more mild or something worse could happen. And hopefully we can, kind of learn from it. And, I heard yesterday, I think I was watching some old guy show, like 60 Minutes or something like that. And there was a guy on there who was talking about our economy and how, our economy is going to survive and stuff. And he had a lot of great information. He wasn't really stating a lot of, he had some facts here and there, but he wasn't stating a lot of hard, cold facts. All he kept doing was comparing it to 2008. And he kept saying, hey, this happened in 2008 and that's where we messed up, but we're prepared in this way for this now because we already had that bad experience in 2008. And then they said, hey, well, what about this? And he said, well, we got enough money. There's people that are freaking out and they're trying to get a bunch of cash out because they think that we're going to have to trade money, with people. And he, who knows what the hell's going to happen. But this guy, in his opinion, he was like, no, we have plenty of money. He said the government's got plenty of money. Your money, when you need money, it'll be there. It's all good. For people that needed, loans and different things like that. So I just thought that was really cool, though, how he kept using the 2008 market crash to, help with better informed decisions for the future. So hopefully we can hopefully this thing is just a minor scare and hopefully not a lot more people die from it and hopefully not a lot more people get it. And hopefully things start looking on the brighter side. But when they do look on the brighter side, hopefully we think about this and hopefully we understand that there's nasty shit that can happen and we should figure out the best possible ways for us to be prepared for it.
And wash your hands for 20 seconds.
I have been,
and your balls.
Yeah, I've been pretty good about washing the hands, not the balls, though.
There's a deodorizer for your balls from a company called Manscaped. I love their deodorizer, by the way. Not sponsored, but I do like the smell of the balls.
It's for my balls or your balls?
And I think I have a second thing. So you can use it on your balls too if you'd like. Test it out. We can get. I was gonna say something, but then I was be like, no disrespect to.
Oh, God.
I was gonna say no. I'm gonna shut my mouth. I'll tell you off of the podcast.
Hey, is that the thing you were showing me that you shove up your ass? Was it that?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
Oh. What was that thing? It was between your legs or something.
Yeah, it's called a 2-pronged dildo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the one you got from Andrew.
That's the one I got from Andrew, yeah.
Oh.
It can pleasure you in 2 ways. So vibration also. No plug needed, battery powered. The trick for the battery power is to get rechargeable batteries so that you never, ever, ever have to buy new batteries and you're never left in the hole.
Does it have Bluetooth?
Yeah, you can. You can control it from your phone. There's actually a meter where you can do the settings where it gets a little bit harder vibration and a little bit lighter vibration. It's a very, very fun. I think it's a community type experience. It's your partner.
Is there an HDMI port though?
No HDMI port, sadly.
I'm
USB.
Out. Nope.
USB.
I'm out. It's got to have HDMI.
What'd you say?
I said Nsima.com.
Yeah, head to Nsima.com or breakthebar.com and you can get yourself your 2-pronged dildo.
Ugh.
The tantalizer.
I don't know how we got here.
Take us out of here, Andrew, with our first ever coronavirus social distancing podcast. Even though we're actually all in the same room together, we just decided to do it this way.
So good. That would be amazing.
That's the way they do WWE promos, and they say weird, crazy shit about each other, and they're standing right there, but they're in a wrestling character. And Brock Lesnar, John Cena once told me that Brock Lesnar confronted him about it. He came up to him and was like, dude, I really didn't like you saying that shit about me. He's like, he looked at him so confused. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, like when we were doing that interview, you know, I didn't appreciate that. He's like, Brock, he's like, dude, he's like, that's to sell tickets. He's like, I would never say anything bad about you.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx has
like,
this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx has a similar story about him and LL Cool J getting into a fight over the same thing. He talks about it on a comedy special, so I don't know how real it is, but he's like, look, this is me, this is my character, I'm going to say this, and you, whoever you think you are right now, you're going to say this part. He's like, and then he ended up, so I said my part, and he punched me. And it was just, of course, Jamie Foxx is freaking hilarious, but he's like, I was going to get him back, but I wasn't ready. So.
You remember not Robert Downey, Leonardo DiCaprio in Django?
Oh, yeah.
You remember the horrible stuff he had to say? So, like, Samuel L. Jackson was like, apparently after every single line, and when they'd press cut, Leonardo would be like, dude, I'm so sorry. You know, that's not me. I would never say these things. I apologize. And Samuel was like, you need to stop apologizing for that. You have a script. We got to get through this. So that's some funny stuff, man.
Yeah.
If you guys don't understand, watch Django and you'll understand what we're talking about right now.
That's a good movie. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about this different format. I could definitely see us doing this more, especially when one of us is out of town or something weird goes down in the studio, and I don't know, it's just another way to bring more podcasts for you guys, more content. So in the comments, just let us know what you guys think, and shout out to Piedmontese for sponsoring this episode. I can actually smell a flat iron steak cooking right now in the air fryer. I text Stephanie to throw that thing in there. So thank you to them. If you guys are interested in giving those a try, head over to Piedmontese.com. Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 more, you get free 2-day shipping. If you guys want to holler at me, it's at I am Andrew Z on Instagram. Please make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram as well, at MB Power Project on TikTok and Twitter. And Nsima, it looks like you're in Sacramento right there. I don't know where you're at, but if people want to get in touch with you, where are you at?
I'm actually in Florida. At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Actually, I'm in Sacramento. Don't take that seriously.
Sacramento! Hey, peeps, go over and check out markbell.com because of all the shit that's going on. We're giving you a free month, and we got a lot of body weight exercises, a lot of home exercises that you can do. From my boy Jesse Burdick, we got I think it's 8 weeks of it's all body weight exercises. And then we have 8 weeks of just home workout too. So the body weight exercises are, squats and lunges and push-ups and things like that. But then there's also stuff that you can do with, dumbbells and some small amount of equipment that you might have at home. So go over and check all that out. I made it free because I know people are losing their jobs and stuff like that. So hopefully you can find some good exercise over there. And as we mentioned during the course of this show, please get outside, try to get some sunlight, eat well, whatever nutrition plan you're on, try to stay on track with that the best you possibly can. Get in some exercise every day and make sure you're getting that sleep. And I wish all of you the best of health. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you all later. Oh, I actually punched it.
You did punch it.